The distress signal rippled across the galactic network like a dying scream. Commander Rose Chen stood on the bridge of the UHNS Indomitable, her dark eyes scanning the holographic display that showed the Valorian Empire crumbling in real time. 17 star systems, millions of lives, all hanging by a thread. They helped us once, she said quietly, her fingers tracing the edge of the console. During the plague years, beside her, Lieutenant Alex Morrison nodded, his jaw set with determination. When Earth was nothing but a backwater death world they could have ignored. The bridge crew fell silent. Everyone remembered the history lessons. 50 years ago, when the Crimson Plague had swept through humanity's early colonies, it was the Valorians who'd shared their medical technology. They'd called humans the resilient ones from the impossible world, beings who'd evolved on a planet so hostile that most galactic species considered it a death sentence. High gravity, aggressive pathogens, predators at every turn. And yet humans had not just survived but thrived. The Galactic Council had written humanity off as primitive, but the Valorians had seen something else. Potential. Now the Valorians faced extinction, and the Council's response was calculated indifference. A quantum anomaly was tearing through their space, collapsing stars and destabilizing systems. The Council's scientists claimed it would take months to mount a rescue operation. Mathematics dictated that by then, there would be no one left to save. Captain, the navigation officer called out, the Council has officially denied our request to enter Valorian space. They're calling it a restricted disaster zone. Rose's lips curved into a smile that would have terrified anyone who knew her well. How unfortunate. It seems our communication systems are experiencing interference. Lieutenant Morrison, set course for the Valorian core. Maximum burn. Alex's grin matched hers. Aye, Captain. All hands, prepare for Deathworlder protocols. The phrase sent a surge of adrenaline through the crew. Deathworlder protocols meant they were about to do something spectacularly dangerous, something only humans would be crazy enough to attempt. The Indomitable wasn't alone. Within hours, 17 human vessels had broken formation from their designated patrol zones, converging on Valorian space. Each ship carried humanity's latest technological marvel, quantum stabilization cores, designed to counteract spatial anomalies. The technology was experimental, untested on anything beyond laboratory conditions, but humans had a saying, hold my beer. As they entered Valorian space, the devastation became apparent. Entire planets torn apart by gravitational shear, space stations reduced to expanding clouds of debris, and at the center, the anomaly, a writhing wound in reality itself, bleeding exotic radiation across the electromagnetic spectrum. It's beautiful, Alex whispered, then caught himself. In a terrifying, universe-destroying sort of way. Rose studied the readings. The anomaly was worse than reported. Standard physics broke down within its event horizon. Time dilated unpredictably. Matter deconstructed at the atomic level. Any species with a sensible self-preservation instinct would retreat. Humans, as the galaxy had learned, were not sensible. All ships, this is Chen. Deploy stabilization cores in delta formation. We're going to thread this needle. The other captains didn't hesitate. Captain Okonkwo of the Defiant, Captain Zhao of the Relentless, Captain Petrov of the Unstoppable. 17 ships, 17 human crews, all volunteers who'd grown up hearing stories of Valorian kindness during humanity's darkest hour. Debts humans believed must be repaid. The ships plunged toward the anomaly, their cores humming with barely contained quantum energy. Alex's hands flew across the controls, making micro-adjustments that would have been impossible for any species without humanity's evolved reflexes, gifts from a death, where a split-second delay meant becoming something else's. Dinner entering the interference zone, he reported, his voice steady despite the ship's violent shaking, gravity fluctuating between 15 and 0.3 Gs. The crew absorbed the punishment. Humans, after all, had evolved in 1 G-crushing weight compared to most spacefaring species. Their bones were denser, their cardiovascular systems over-engineered for the task. What would kill a Valorian merely bruised a human. Rose watched a tactical display as the 17 ships formed a perfect geometric pattern around the anomaly. On my mark, activate cores 3.2.1. Mark. Reality screamed. The quantum cores fired simultaneously, each one generating a pocket of stabilized spacetime. The anomaly writhed, fighting against the imposed order. Energy readings spiked beyond the theoretical maxims. Warnings flashed across every console. Core temperature critical, someone shouted. Hull stress at 160%. Radiation levels hold, Rose commanded. We hold the line. And they did, because humans were Deathworlders who'd learned to hold the line against extinction events, ice ages, supervolcanic eruptions, and countless other catastrophes that should have ended their species. They'd evolved to look at the impossible and say, not today. The anomaly began to shrink, slowly at first, then faster. The quantum cores were working, knitting reality back together through sheer stubborn persistence, a very human trait. Alex monitored the Valorian evacuation ships streaming away from doomed systems. They're getting out. It's working. The anomaly collapsed with a flash of exotic radiation that lit up Valorian space like a newborn star. When the sensors cleared, it was gone. 17 human ships remained, battered but intact. The galactic network exploded with activity. How had the primitive Deathworlders succeeded where the Council's scientists had failed? The answer was simple and terrifying. They'd succeeded because they were willing to fly into certain death to save those who'd once shown them kindness. Rose opened a channel to the Valorian fleet commander. This is Commander Chen of Earth. The debt is paid. The Valorian's response was choked with emotion. You've saved billions. How can we ever remember us? Rose interrupted gently. When the Council calls humans reckless or dangerous, remember that we flew into the void for you. That's all we ask. As the Indomitable turned toward home, Alex leaned back in his chair. You know the Council is going to lose their minds. Rose smiled. Good. Let them learn what Deathworlders do for our friends. The message was clear. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and they'd brought their Deathworld values with them: loyalty, courage, and the stubborn refusal to abandon those who'd earned their respect. The galaxy would never be the same.